Everyone. I hope you had a good lunch. Jin, there's still seats at the tables if you want, yeah? Okay. All right, so we're going to get started because we have a very exciting lineup today. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Christina Chong, or Chris. I work with the ADB as a climate change specialist, and I focus a bit more on the Pacific region. So really happy to be here with all of you today, moderating this session. So this is what we call the Spotlight Session 1, and we are going to be talking about advancing urban climate resilience through community-based green infrastructure. So there's a lot here to unpack, right? We heard a lot this morning about urban climate resilience and how the linkage with urban poverty reduction and the multiple dimensions of that work is. And now we're going to focus a bit more on the community-based part of it, right? And the green infrastructure. So there's a lot of unpacking, and we have speakers this afternoon who are going to be looking at this topic from very different perspectives, from their work experiences, to unpack this whole topic for all of us, okay? And we do have a generous time for question and answers, so please do note down any points you want to discuss further so that we can raise them for discussion after the presentations. Okay, so we're going to have two sets of inputs this afternoon. Okay, the first would be three very succinct but very exciting presentations from speakers, and then we will have some reflections from three panelists. Okay, if you feel like you are dozing off and you don't want to miss out on this very interesting session, feel free to stand up and walk around because this is the time of day where we need some exercise, okay? So as long as you're not blocking or disrupting anyone else, feel free to stand up and move around or do whatever you need to stay awake, okay? So I'm going to start off and introduce our first speaker, Ms. Pramila Mananda, and Ms. Pramila is a Call for Solutions winner. She's a communications manager working with Child Workers in Nepal Concerned Center, and she's going to present to us some highlights from her work. I think that's easier. Yeah, you go for it. So can we have a quick round of applause to welcome Pramila? Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Pramila Manandar. I am from Nepal. I work as communication manager in Sibin, Nepal. It's a child rights-based organization, CSO. And today I am here, draped in my traditional attire. This is our traditional drape. The black color, it symbolizes resilience, power, and the red, it's energy and passion. So I am here to share our story of a very tiny story, a bit of a success story, a bit of not so success story of resilience, power, empowerment from my place, my land. I'm talking about Lalitpur Metropolitan City. Lalitpur Metropolitan City is one of the metropolitans in Kathmandu Valley, the federal capital of Nepal. Maybe this. And we once brought together the adolescents from the Lalitpur Metropolitan City for General Comment 26. And when the adolescents were there, we oriented them on various terminologies and what are the things that are going on around the world, in our nation, what the governments are doing, and what we are expecting the government to do for us, and all these things. After the event was over, the adolescents, they were from 12 to 19, they showed interest on working on the sector more. So we organized a different kind of session for them. It was a kind of series of workshop, and in this series of workshop, on the very first series, since they already know about climate change and its impact and few ideas about climate change, we all sat together and decided on a template. This template, I mean, the one which you can see there, the template was designed by themselves. We didn't influence them. Nobody influenced the adolescents. They designed the templates themselves, and they worked on the template. It was something like this. So first, they identified the issues, what they are seeing in their communities, and after that, they divided the issue into environmental and climate change. So after that, they chose these two things, like things I can influence and things I can change myself. So deciding on the template, they further moved, if it's something which I can only influence and I cannot do anything myself, then maybe we should go with advocacy. So they decided on going forward through advocacy. In advocacy, then in the things I can do, there are small things which they can do in their own level. Like participating in the cleaning campaigns, cleaning drive-ups, and recycling and waste management and all these things. So when we talk about waste management, we think it's not directly related to climate change. But if you look it through our eyes, in Kathmandu Valley, solid waste management is one of the biggest issues we are facing. Right now, people are saying, now Kathmandu is very clean, this new mayor is doing that, and this mayor is doing this. So we are very happy about that. But we are forgetting that the cleaner our city gets, the more waste it is going to the dumping site. And if we look back, then there was this landfill site in Sisdol, which is 25 kilometers or 27 kilometers away from Kathmandu. It was chosen for just 3 years as a temporary landfill site. And it served as landfill site for the west from the city for 15 years. And during those 15 years, there were lots of agitation, lots of conflict between the people from the landfill site, surrounding areas, and the local government in the cities. So after lots of rifts and conflicts, in 2021, another landfill site was allocated almost 2 kilometers west from that previous site. So what I'm saying is, we are just filling up the landfill site. No matter how many landfill sites you develop, how many big areas you choose, it's certainly going to fill up if you are not segregating your waste. And before coming here, when I talked to the Chief of Environment Department of Lalitpur Metropolitan City, he said 65% of our waste is organic. That means it's going to the landfill site, giving out methane gas, and the leachate that's flowing, its impact has very terrible health impacts on the people. So all these things were going on. So the young people, the adolescents, they decided that let's start from segregating waste in our own place. So that's how they move forward. And that is about the behavioral change. But then there are certain things which should be done on policy level. It's not like only you keep on segregating waste and everything will be sorted out. Something needs to be done on advocacy level also. So they first chose, we decided to go with role play to see how different we are regarding the impacts of understanding of the climate change and its impact and resilience and everything. So we invited the real-life elected officials from ward and shopkeepers who use plastic bags, and other people like street vendors, housewives, and all those people, real-life people stepped in voluntarily, and they did this role play with them. And there we understood how different we are in the understanding of climate change. Not all of us are on the same page. So after that, then we decided with the adolescent that now we should move further and have some adolescent partners in working in this area, because these children, they are all schoolgoers. They have their own priority. Climate change, being a champion, that's something which is important, yes, but the priority is still their schools. So they need some adolescent partners to carry forward their idea. So who better than to approach the women of the community? So we brought in the women of the community, but then it's again very difficult to approach the women with the ideas like this is happening, this is climate change and that. So it's very difficult for them. So we organized comic workshop, and with the comic workshop, they made one-page comic. It was a 3-day workshop, and in excitement, I forgot to add the picture of comics. So I'm very sorry about that. So after the comic workshop, we went around the different areas of Lalitpur metropolitan city, and people got very excited and interested in whatever those pictures were saying. It's just like 4 pictures in one page with 4 lines of ideas. So that was it. And then what happened was, these are very few achievements which you can say they are tiny, tiny achievements, not very big things. But then it's very big for the adolescents. If you look through their eyes, then it's something which it's very big for them. But what is very big, we felt, is this one. In Ward 19, actually the government made commitment for the community garden, which never materialized. But what happened was like, from the segregated waste, they started to decompose, develop compost, and from those composts, they used it in the terrace farming, terrace gardening. So in this way, first, the waste is reduced. Another thing, food security, even if it's a very small in size, it still is helping them grow their own crops without pesticides and all. So this has happened. And this, I guess, from the point of view of adolescents, and since we do not work directly on climate change, as Seven Nepal doesn't focus directly on climate change, it's just this event which we did. So we felt this is a very good thing which we are able to share, and that's why I am here. This is a picture, of course. These are the only best pictures. Not the, like, not every house has this kind of terrace garden. It's just the best pictures I brought here because this is an international forum, so I have to bring the best pictures, isn't it? So these are the best pictures. And yeah, and there are challenges, lots and lots of challenges which you can see. The government, they come, they always make commitments, but lots of time, they don't materialize. And since the adolescents, as I mentioned earlier, they are not primarily climate activists. They do not have time to keep on questioning the government or going for follow-ups. So these things kind of keep on pulling the whole campaign backwards. And it's like going forward 2 steps, coming back 1 step. So these are the challenges the young people are facing. And then there are few plans for the next year. And the people who made the commitments before coming here, I went back and I was questioning what happened. Now I have to present this and I am not getting any answers from you. So what happened? So they are kind of rethinking also, yeah. This will happen this year. We will do it this year. This year we will have the youngsters come in and participate in our budget planning meeting. So this will happen today, this year, next year, this quarter. So these things are coming up, but still we are very excited that tomorrow it's going to be better than what it is today. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Pramila. That was really, Pramila, do you want to take a seat here? So thank you very much to Pramila for this very different perspective from this morning's presentations on engaging the youth and mobilizing them to provide a different perspective of shaping our urban space. Yeah. So for next speaker, we'll invite Yugesh Pradhanang. He is an international technical advisor and program manager of the National Urban Poverty Reduction Program at UNDP Bangladesh. And he's going to provide yet another different perspective to how community-led adaptation can shape urban resilience. So the floor is yours, Yugesh. 5 minutes.
Yeah, thank you, but maybe I'll take a little bit more, if you don't mind. Yeah. Okay. Why it's... Okay, thank you. Why?
Here present. It's okay.
This one, huh? Okay. So this will go like, oh yeah, now it's coming. Okay. Okay, I'm from Nepal. We're trying to share the UNDP Bangladesh experience, how we are working closely with the government and the funding from the UK government of FCDU. So basically, before going to I'll just give you the key highlight, like how the urban context in Bangladesh is, right? So if you see that today also we heard it, 50% of total population of Bangladesh is expected to live in the urban area by 2050. In India, we said 53%, right? And due to the climate shocks and then all the things, the rising in the internal climate displacements, maybe in 13 million in 2050. So might be that number might be goes to up to 20. So it depends upon the time frame. So, but when we see all these things, but the more suffer are the low-income community and which are the climate-induced displacement. But we also talk about that growing pressure on the adaptation and cost is remaining very high and high. So with this context, with the UK government of FCDO and from the ministry side, the local government division and the UNDP has implemented this program. It's a large UNDP program of $90 million and working in across the 19 cities and municipalities. And basically, you can find the detail on this website link so that I don't need to go in detail about the program. So just to share how our holistic approach to start this program is, once we define the city and municipality, we first develop the community climate change vulnerable assessment and poverty mapping, which has given the easiest to target setting, which the area, which the ward we should work, right? Which are the vulnerable. And based on that, we started doing community mobilization with the household visit. And once the community developed their organization, we call self-help organization, but in the Bangladesh we call as a community development committee at the community level, and that is linked up to the city level or municipal level through their establishing the cooperative, now they call as a town federation at the city level. So once they develop the CDC, we also register as a multi-dimensional poverty index. So which really we discuss also about that, which also gives us which are the most vulnerable the peoples are there and how we can reach out to that vulnerable people. And when they are doing the programming in the social and economic part, that has helped a lot, right? And this community will also do the local resilience plan or the local adaptation plan, whatever you say, it's a community action plan, which will be integrated into the urban planning process in the ward level and the city level. So that will help us to the local government how to make a proper planning. As it will help us also in the budgeting part. So once the community is mature, then with the program side, we also give some safety net program we call as a social, what we also talking yesterday also. So we gave to the community business grant to start the business, apprenticeship skills to get some decent job, to get the nutrition grant to the pregnant and the lactating mother, and we gave also education grant to stop early forced marriage, because in the Bangladesh is a very early forced marriage also critical issues over there. And with this one, how the community can be social and economically resilient, right? So the project might have reached out the not too much number of the people, but these mechanisms through MPI, they knows how to do the select the beneficiary, real beneficiary, and other who is the missed out, they also mobilize different partner and the local government resources to reach out these types of facility. And once they empower their community action plan, there is also some basic infrastructure or some environment which is linking with the climate, right? So community is also implementing community-led community infrastructure. So if you see this in this process, we have reached out the 4 million urban poor people in Bangladesh, right? And then with this, our learning and experience, we have also influence in the national urban policy. So recently, the local government divisions will put into the, for the approval to the, for the national urban policy, the approval process to the cabinet division. So it is also not easy task putting the input in the national urban policy, which was started since 2004. And we have a Honorable Additional Secretary from the Cabinet Division is here. He knows far better than me here. So in this one also, like if you see that local government has allocated, beside our program, $7.6 million to support the community. So we are already integrated into the systems. So this which community, they are, as a change agent working, how they are making locally led for the local solutions, right? How they are working there. So now the topics is more on the green infrastructure, so that my focus will be here, but I gave a overall how we are working. So once we have the two approach in the climate resilient infrastructure, one is a small scale, one is a medium scale. Small scale is up to 10,000, medium scale is up to $100,000, right? And then in the middle scale, the local government has to provide the at least 10%, and it has increased up to 20%. So we have different cases out there. And all the infrastructure is a community-led, and it's all the community contract. Today we have a UN Habitat, colleagues were saying, it's a community contract, which gave the local ownership, improve the quality, also operation and maintenance to do it, so the sustainability, right? And this all, you'll find out the different type of innovative model in the infrastructure, like starting from the access to the local community in the low-lying land, right? And then even you can see in that is a DWATS we call, it's a decentralized water treatment plant, that community showing to the local government when they have a sanitations, drainage over there, then how they can give the safe and clean water to the lake. So that is in Chattogram. So that was established by the community, and it was also giving a lesson to the local government when they are implementing how they should also design it, right? That's the one thing. And even the different varieties like fire hydrants, evacuation route in the Cox's Bazar, and then the different sanitations and the water supply systems has been implemented by the community. So you can see before and after, you can easily see how the community has changed their society and their livelihood, right? So if you see that we have reached out to 1.9 million urban poor people, and with this program, we have reached out more than 300 people to in drinking water and sanitations. But what we had the inline evaluations recently. We saw that 98% of the program household report improving living conditions of 40% of control areas. This is a good impact of our program. Now, with the infrastructure, we have also housing. And housing, we have a two approach. One is community housing through finance mechanisms. Another is, that is a single community housing, we say. Another is low-cost housing, multi-storage building, right? So in for the single-store community housing, it's basically with the approach, we give the seed grant money to them, and they establish the cooperative. And the community, without the collateral, the social collateral, we say, they take a loan from 6.7% with the 2 to 5 years duration. They are building their houses and making more resilient. Shelter is one of the key issues when we are talking for the urban poor community, right? And we have also supported the community, different types of prototypes of housing model. Like if you see in the Bangladesh, there are the different types are there. Like if you go into the coastal area, there are different hazards. And then if you go to the high urban storm resilient houses are there, some like heat in the northern part, a lot of heat strengths are there. So based on that, we have also make a recipe for the community housing development fund, which are the cooperative. So they can also get the feedback from the community to designing the housing side, right? And if you can see a different type, one I can show you in the the below one in the left-hand side, that is has implemented within 30 days, and which we are also trying to replicate into the other coastal area disaster. It has developed with the ferrocement and but innovative putting solar, improved cooking stoves, and other things how to integrate in the urban housing. Right? Okay, so this is another low-cost housing. This is with the government funding, with the $13 million we are doing. So, but here I want to make like how it's we are making livable, social, and affordable housing with a green infrastructure way. That might be the interesting for you. So we know that when we are building the infrastructure, then the water recharging capacity we are losing. We are talking also yesterday. And then we are also building the pond near the houses where it will be integrated into the income generating activities with the pond. Because the most of this housing are the beneficiary who are the minority in the Bangladesh, and they are more the municipal sanitation worker, right? And design was such done is like energy efficient, so that we have used also hollow gray blocks, which also reduce the carbon emissions. And then the design is such a way we did it also, you need a less light so that you minimize the electricity. And there are so many, for the community, like inclusions, we are disability, single woman head. So when we are also designing how their houses, they could have access, and including with the community service center, kitchen gardening, other income generating activities we have integrated. But the most successful for this one, any housing is beneficiary selections. So with the UNDP and the FCDO technical support to the government, so beneficiary selection is very vital, because in the Bangladesh, we have a lot of programs in the community low-cost housing, which are not successful, but that's the reason behind is also beneficiary selections. So this, where we work with a transparent way approach, we are working with a local government so that the right person, the right people get the unit or the housing. And this housing is livable, social, and affordable. And this is 99 years per lease, and the operation, maintenance, and other costs will be bear by the community, and together with the local government. Okay, so when we talk about the poverty, so it's not when we say that we have a lot of database and tools the program has developed. Basically, I'm talking about the poverty mapping and the MPI. So if you can see the train color change, this is not an intervention only of our program investment. This is an empowerment process, the community, how they mobilize the other resource from the other partner, then how they build the partnership. And good to tell that, today, Lasmi said, the women representatives are already in the local government structure. Their voices has been already hearing by the local government, who is a decision maker. And I say the town federation, they have, the city corporation has given the office space free of cost, and they are also together with the city corporation, they are working. So this is how integrated approach, they are changing with the resource mobilization, not from our project side, beyond that one. They have changed their MP, poverty, also in the different, you can see that part, yeah? Okay, the last slide. Okay. So then it might be interesting to, I just want to highlight that recently we had the inline evaluations of the program, which state that 48.6% of the slum population received the program intervention are below to the national poverty line. So that's the one. And second is 53% around urban slum household receiving the program intervention are affected by the climate-related disaster. So we are more focusing on the climate resilience. And if you see the poverty, like a household level, the income has been increased by 35%, right? And food security has been increased by 40%, and overall poverty has been reduced by 7%. So these are the basic findings. And the one good, I already said that. So these are the already local government is allocating the budget and then the community is implementing the program, which same in our model, they are already replicating the program. So we are already internalizing in the system. When we talk about the system, program, and policy, it is already there. So what we have discussed yesterday. This is quick reflection from my side, because I am allowed to say on 5 minutes, and the colleagues is already allowing me, but I'm very happy to have any questions during the discussion time. Thank you.
All right, thank you a lot. Thank you very much, Yogesh, for this very detailed sharing on how the UNDP in Bangladesh has engaged with local communities to work with local government to deliver meaningful solutions for housing. And that's definitely lots of lessons we can learn from that case study. And finally, I will invite Ms. Madeline Suarez. We have heard from Madeline this morning. She is the president for the Alliance of People's Organizations along Magahan Floodway in the Philippines. And she will be sharing with us how they have mobilized these women-led groups to influence as well, bringing about climate resilience in housing. So Madeline, 5 minutes, please. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. This afternoon, I am going to do a do-it presentation with my colleague, Adele. She's here. We want to share our success after years of struggle in advocating for the right of the city housing through the People's Plan process. The process of the People's Plan involved community-led planning to create a safe, permanent, and sustainable community. So, as you will see in the slide, that is our previous place and location all over the Philippines. It is called Mangahan Floodway. The process, with the help of our NGO partner, the community organizers Multiversity, we learned about our rights and trained in negotiation, issues analysis, finding solution, and building partnerships. This also guided us in searching for land and connecting with partners and alliances that provide technical and legal support for the plan's design. Additionally, we negotiated with the government for support funding and project approval. So that was the process that we are gone through while doing the assertion and dialogues with the government. The People's Plan, that's the process, formulation of consensus communication, technical, and land research. The structures on process of the People's Plan through community participation and informed decision-making help develop a strong sense of ownership and accountability with the community. So that's after moving in, we as a community identified new issues and needs, particularly the importance of green space. We recognize the need to provide a shade of improved air circulation, helping to reduce heat waves in the area. So we are doing the urban gardening. This led into the launch of tree planting and urban gardening initiatives. The impact of this program extends beyond addressing extreme heat caused by the climate change. It is also strengthening food security and income for our members, especially during the pandemic when urban gardening became a vital source of food solution during that time. Over time, the initiative also involved in source of alternative medicine as a medicinal plants grown within the community as now being used as natural remedies to various ailments. And this, another initiative we implemented was a rainwater harvesting, which is used for our community toilets and watering our urban gardens. So these all initiatives of the community-led climate adaptation, thanks for the Wairo Commission for their partnership with our community in these women-led initiatives. Additionally, we lobbied for funding from the National Housing Authority for the rehabilitation of our sewage treatment plant facility. In 2024, just recently, we successfully secured 49 million pesos in funding, and rehabilitation of the facility is now underway to address health concern and ensure a quality water supply for the community. We continue to face many challenges, especially in state management, because we're not a technical people, and building maintenance. However, refuses to give up because we believe that with the support of various civil society organizations and government agencies, we can overcome this obstacle. All we ask for is only an opportunity, support, space, and recognition of our ability to solve our own problems. Next, Adele.
Good afternoon, everyone. Once again, I'm Adol Queen Asis, one of the grassroots women in the Mayan community in Barangay San Juan, Municipality of Taytay, Province of Rizal. For the continuous sharing of the women leads work in our community, let me share our experiences, and please show the slides. In 2009, due to Typhoon Kichana, the Mayan community dike which protect us from flooding was damaged. Around 3,000 families were threatened to be moved for distant relocations. But the Mayan community explored different technologies to help reduce impact of disaster and their cost. By the help of our partner NGO, COM, or Community Organized Multidiversity. For example, we lobbied to Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, for the rehabilitations of dike and drainage systems. Another is the construction of flood and earthquake-resistant model house. It was built with an elevated design and strong foundation. This served as models people's plan of community and resilience housing. Through bottom-up budgeting, a budget reform agenda of government, we have accessed 4.5 million fund for the construction of evacuation center from Department of Internal and Local Government, or which we call the ILG. It also serves as community learning center for disaster preparedness, climate adaptations, and women empowerment. Because of these experiences and initiatives, the local government unit recognized our efforts. At first, we were invited as resource person and awareness building and planning on disaster preparedness in different communities and municipality of Taytay. We conduct different kind of trainings and seminars in terms of climate change adaptations and disaster preparedness. At present, we 9 women leaders have been hired by Barangay in Disaster Risk Reduction and Environmental Department. 2 of them became the head department, and I'm one of them. I am now the department head of Material Recovery Facility and Solid Waste Segregation in charge in implementing waste management program in Barangay San Juan, Municipality of Taytay. We will continuously learning. This work is challenging, but when we are organized, it becomes much easier. That's all. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure. Sorry. Okay. So we have heard from. Okay, we've heard from the 3 presentations, and we are now going to be inviting 3 discussants to share with us their perspectives of or their reflections after hearing these presentations. And our discussants come from a very different perspective yet again. So you've heard how locally led and local from different perspectives, right? From the youth, from women's group, from house owners, and how they all have different approaches to shaping urban resilience. And now we would like to invite 3 discussants to share how they have found the inputs from the presentations. But after that, we will be inviting questions from the room. So if you have some points you want to discuss, please feel free to note them down. We will be trying to make time for your questions as well. Okay, so I'll invite Ms. Rin Mulyadi, who's the Strategic Partnerships Head from the Ministry of Public Works Indonesia, to take a seat up here. Mr. Edkal Galing, Urban Development Specialist from Asian Development Bank, and Ms. Kotchakorn Vorakom, who is the Landscape Architect and CEO of Land Process and Porous City Network in Thailand. And they will share in 3 to 5 minutes their reflections on the inputs that we have heard from our presenters. Okay, so Ms. Rin, can I invite you to go first? Yes. Okay.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you in advance to the Asian Development Bank for the opportunity given to me as a participant in this forum and also as the participant in these discussions, especially regarding the advancing relations of the urban part through community-based green infrastructure. Responding to the presentation on learning delivered by the 3 speakers, it turns out that maybe there are many things that we do and also apply in several programs that we work on in Indonesia. I probably not comment on what has been presented, but let me share some programs related to the communities in Indonesia. For example, we received assistance from the Asian Development Bank about 10 years ago. It calls urban sanitation and rural infrastructure as part of Indonesian government effort to support poverty alleviation programs through an approach to poor community in urban and rural areas. The biggest concern of all completed project is, of course, the sustainability. Maybe all of you didn't yet recognize about the sustainability about the project, but in Indonesia, many facilities that have been built no longer used by the community because of the facilities are no longer functioning, and they're unable to finance the repairs. In this case, me as the part of the central government have not been able to touch in to this because of the limited funding. Maybe the problem same for another country, but we hope that this can be handled by the local government. But limited funding is also a problem because of the different parity scales in each local government. And as an illustration, the sanitation, Mr. Yuges has also mentioned about the sanitation. In my country, in Indonesia, sanitation sector is still not on top priority. So about the budget and everything about the sanitation is not a top priority. And also, Mr. Yuges have run the program called NUPRP, National Urban Poverty Reduction Program. Recently, we also have a similar program, I think. It called National Slum Upgrading Project, or NSUP, funded by loan from Islamic Development Bank. And then there's also several important elements maybe that need to be emphasized so the project will run well. Of course, the local government as the forefront and the high level of community participation, strong institutionalization, spatial and participatory planning, encourage collaboration action, and then also the good program management. I think that's all.
Thank you, Rin. I think you bring up really pertinent points to think about, right? For one thing, we definitely need local inputs, user inputs into design and ownership into the construction of local infrastructure. But then we also need to consider the financing and the sustainability of infrastructure because these are very long-lived assets, yeah? So next,
I haven't touched that part, but if you allow me, I can present.
Sure, thank you very much. We really appreciate. So please, for those who are interested in UNDP's intervention and all the lessons that have been learned from that, please approach Yogesh outside of this session to continue this conversation. And next, I invite Carl to share your reflections.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Just to share a few pointers and thoughts hearing from the 3 presentations, and by the way, they were excellent. Thank you so much. I just wanted to touch quickly on we're discussing about community-based green urban infrastructure. And when we say green, it can become vague when we talk to our stakeholders on the ground. But by that, we mean nature-based solutions or innovative solutions, resilient approaches, but still they sound so vague when we talk to local stakeholders. What we find working with ADB and implementing these programs on the ground, what we find as a constraint and bottleneck is on the regulatory and policy side. When we introduce new innovations and new technologies, suddenly you attract the attention of regulators, and they always look at standards, design standards, right? Whether they pass certain indicators, and they become very difficult. These discussions become very difficult to progress the project and even encourage people who are working in this space. But I think the reality is we have to look at the acceptability of these solutions from a regulatory and policy perspective, establishing first a proof of concept. I think one of the challenges and the trap that many of the companies get into working in climate resilience is that they jump into specific approaches and models, working in pilots, and immediately expand them into, scale them up into projects, which is quite dangerous. We need to have a clear proof of concept. I think that has also happened in Bangladesh and Nepal. And then carefully looking at the results and doing evaluations on how effective they can be and be customized in your communities. Also, we look into sustainability. I think that was mentioned, and that's the big S eventually, because the people that we're serving on the ground, eventually they will be operating and maintaining these systems. And donor agencies won't be there, or external agency. Private sector can be there, but upfront, I think people always, they always have the wrong impression of private sector getting involved, especially small outfits who could be cost effective. So I think part of the work also is to encourage people, explain to them how these new approaches and methodologies work. But also on sustainability, looking at the value chain of these innovative solutions, right? Looking at specifically products and services that are being provided. The source of raw materials, for example, construction methodology, whether they are engaging local people in those methods, availability of the materials and how to sustain them, and definitely O&M. But I think finally in ADB, we're starting to understand better how to engage CSOs in these processes, but also tech companies who are willing to go on the ground and engage, be more proactive with the local governments, but also discuss with communities on how to sustain these methods. Also in ADB, we started to look in our procurement systems, because going green and implementing innovative solutions, turning communities into resilient, the difficulty we see is when we bring out tenders, we're not comparing apples to apples, meaning those outfits and companies and CSOs and NGOs who are able to mobilize and engage communities cannot fare with the typical engineering companies that we engage, like MDBs. And the procurement systems that we work on are not friendly CSOs and NGOs. I think that's an ongoing reform that we're considering within the bank, but also on how we evaluate them. So we're considering mainstreaming MPCs and not just getting multi-point criteria and not just getting the lowest bidder in these types of contracts. So I think I wouldn't repeat on the organization, advocacy, stakeholder engagement. I think Pramila and Madeline talked on those effectively. Just maybe one last thing that we do proactively, particularly in water and urban development, is we develop strong communications and campaigns with utilities, making sure that it's not just an engineering work, laying pipes or providing water, but it's communicating to people what they do, the value that they add in the programs and projects. And it's not just collecting money, but it's essentially what value they add in providing the services. But similar to other SOE, state-owned enterprises, on how they deliver their services. So communication, behavior change campaigns are so important in these programs so that people are engaged, stakeholders have ownership eventually. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. So I think that was also another angle to this really complex issue, right? Talking about formalization of infrastructure, specifications, materials, but also moving from pilot scale to full-scale program. That's also not a straightforward process. And now we hand over to Koch to share her perspective before we take a few questions, hopefully. Yeah.
Sawadee. So thank you so much to share all of your projects and learning from many different countries. And I'm actually working as a landscape architect, working a lot with government and also with the community. So maybe I will share what I have learned from you and what I have experienced on ground in Thailand. I think the community-led part is really great, and I really like the youth, the women, the local. But I think I have a problem with the word infrastructure. And I think there's a big gap between understanding infrastructure from the government, top down, and from the bottom up. And I think as long as you fix giving them housing, let's say, and if they couldn't fix them, but we still have to wait for the budget to repair and things, I don't think that can call resilience. You don't give the resilient solution to the local if they cannot fix what has been given. Because that means you are putting all this process into the wrong solution because the community cannot let to fix them. So that means you're not empowering them. You're only empowering them in the process of initiation. But what about after the maintenance part, right? I think this is a big problem in Thailand as well. And I'm not sure, maybe, is there any other things that many of you has think about if ADB left or government left, shifting the leader, what are you leaving them with? And I think when you talk about infrastructure, it sounds like a fixed process, a fixed solution. All the housing in Southeast Asia look all the same. It shouldn't be. Because you're not giving the empowering to the local, you give empowering to engineer, those who sell materials. And I think this is a really big, of course, all that have some performance, but how can we sustain that performance? And thinking about at-risk country for climate change. Let's say the period of the rainfall in Thailand now is 100 years of the rain period. Let's say this is a big amount of the rain that we are confronting twice per year. But now the whole infrastructure in Thailand is only 5 years of the rain return period. What does it mean? And I'm wondering, when we say this is a resilient infrastructure, what aim are we giving to the community to cope with? And are we putting them into the right projection in the future to be resilient in such even more disastrous condition. So even in the bigger city itself, the infrastructure is not sufficient to handle the resilience. So I think when you're giving such a fixed infrastructure as an answer, and of course as a modern, I'm from the construction side, right? So I think this is a big question. And when you talk about livelihood, maybe you give a good concrete pathway for them to be able to walk. But are you destroying mangrove, riparian, and many more? All whatever community-led, which I really feel that should be raised up more. But we never put nature first. We always put human as a centric. So every solution still based on livelihood, livable city, very like budgets and things, which is fine. But if we really ask the question harder and put the nature first, how can we live with them? How can Bangkok live with flooding? The whole shifting process will change. And this is the real empowerment. Okay, and I think, yes, I think I really like what we're doing here, but I don't think, me including, we asking a deeper question of infrastructure yet. And how can we make top down and bottom up work together, but not this vertical way, but top down, bottom up in this way. Horizontal way, like they go together hands in hands. Thank you.
Thank you. That was a really nice summing up, Coach. I like that, rather than helping us understand with examples or with more of your insights, you were asking us questions, and that's, I think, a process of discovering by reflecting, and that was really, for me, that was really insightful. So thank you very much. Is there any questions from around the room? We have 3 to 5 minutes where you can pick the brains of, yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to build on what you just said before, right? So I'm from KW Development Bank. I have 2 questions actually. So first one is, to which extent do you consider future scenarios in your planning, right? That's what you asked. Like, because I also fear what we invest now might not be sufficient in 20 years, whatever, right? So I know that uncertainty improves the further we look in the future, but somehow I think we have to deal with scenarios, right? Because we talk about the adaptation financing gap, and so it will never be closed, I fear, right? So how can we be sure that what we invest now is still resilient in 10 or 20 years? That's the first one. And the other question that you asked was also mine. I would like to hear from you, how are planetary boundaries considered in your urban infrastructure or urban resilience projects? Because I also think it's not just about humans.
Thanks for that. Was that directed at anyone in particular?
I think they're all working.
All panelists? Okay.
Yeah, but I think I like your questions, but the first question is quite dangerous. Right? Because if we aim, okay, we're going to fix 100 years of the rain period. That means the whole Bangkok need a whole wall. Right? So this is very not about how we can adapt the city, but how can we empower people to adapt. But of course, we can't adapt with this kind of answer. Okay, back to you.
So I can give you one good example. So we have in the Khulna, invested by ADB and World Bank, the big drainage. And then you are correctly said, it was 10 years ago. Now it is this is making the lot of flooding in that particular area. So with our community, local knowledge, we found out where are the more water logging area. It's within the $10,000, below $10,000, we have resolved the issues. Looking their flood nature, their issue, the data, we worked on it, and the local solutions. Yeah. So this is how like what you say in the design, the community you engage from the planning, implementations, that part. And I'm just touching in the sustainability from that one also. Our program also, we do the mason training from the community, and they are engaged in the implementations. And once they will implement that part, they will also get 1+ job opportunity in other area with their upgrading skills. And they have an operation maintenance fund and the skills. So they are maintaining and the sustainability. And all the infrastructure inventory, also in the local government systems, and which are the operation maintenance fund, managing by the community and local government, they are allowing for the maintenance. And we have very good examples, still running very well.
Thanks, Yogesh.
Yeah.
Anyone else wants to respond?
I just want to answer your concern, ma'am, about the sustainability. As our experience, we are a grassroots leader. So we just want to have a house without thinking other components of it. So I am really appreciate on your insights of that, because this is what we are really engage. Why that is why we are always want to engage, because we are not only need a house, we need some facilities or some opportunities that can improve the situation of our community. So maybe the problem is the government is just the practice is just built the structure without having plans to the livelihood components, the sustainability components. Maybe this problem may add on those future plan or engaging, so that the ownership, because the maintenance cost is very burden to the community. Like in our community, we are responsible to the maintenance cost, the state management cost. We're not capable of doing, especially on the technical side, but we are engaging to the technical people as to understand at least the basic, so that we can apply it in our community. Even it is hard, we're continuously doing that, because we have to prove. Again, we have the challenge to prove always in ourselves. Like the government always says that we have to, they have to bring us in the distant relocation, but we are articulating that we can live in the city, we can be a responsible individuals, we can be a responsible leader or community, but we have just to need an opportunity, because opportunity is really lack in terms of the policies that the government has. The budgeting is really a problem in all the programs that they have. So that's all.
Thanks, Madeline. Before Pramila has the last word, I just wanted to let you all know that this room will be used for the next session, and that will be starting in 5 minutes. I will give you more information on that after Pramila's very short response. Yeah.
About sustainability, I am very hopeful in one way that whatever activities I mentioned, it's not, I cannot say it's zero cost, but it's done in very little budget. Most of the people, they are doing it voluntarily. We pay for the transportation of the adolescents when they come for meeting and go. We charge their mobile phone for the online meetings. And the women, whoever are contributing in the campaign, they are doing it voluntarily. So financially, when talking, I am very hopeful that it's going to be very much sustainable. But then if you look at the community-led activities of the past, then what happens generally is once you shift your vision from that particular campaign to something else, then it goes somewhere else, and it seems as if it never existed. So this one fear is there. But then that's why in the morning session, one of the speakers said adaptation and development should go hand in hand. But in our area or in our land, what we are seeing right now is development is there. There are certain programs for development, and adaptation is going as a separate, different program. So financially, yes, it's very, I think, like everyone is doing voluntarily. The youths are very happy. The women are contributing, but for how long? So if the adaptation and development goes hand in hand together, then I am very hopeful that this is not a very difficult practice to continue. So that's what I have to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pramila. That was a very positive note to end the session on. And I thank all of you for this really interesting exchange. We have a very short time, but I think our speakers have touched on a whole range of issues and also highlighted that there is really no simple answer to this issue, right? It's really complex. There are many dimensions. And through partnerships, through conversations, through discussions such as these, we come closer to a solution. And maybe solution is not a right word because it's not a one static point, but a whole process. So thank you very much for this. So next we have the 3 working groups. I don't know if you all have do you have the program? There will be 3 working groups. This room would be for a working group discussing what reforms and processes are needed to support urban, community-based, and climate-resilient infrastructure in support of poverty reduction. So for those who want to engage in that, stay in this room. In room number 2, it's how can poor and vulnerable people, especially women, be empowered to influence investment in pro-poor urban resilience, room 2. Room 3 is how can community-based or local-level adaptation investments be better linked to government systems in the urban context. So that's in room 3, and that's going to start from 2 minutes from now. So feel free to move to the room that you want to engage in.
Yes, please, yes. Oh, sure.